Rab C. Nesbitt wasn't just a sitcom. It was a vivid portrayal of life in working-class Scotland, brought to life by a cast of unforgettable characters. From Rab's sharp humor to Mary's strength, each actor poured their heart into their role, creating moments that are as memorable as they are meaningful. As we look back, we celebrate the legacy of these talented individuals whose performances still resonate with fans today. Let's raise a glass to the cast that made Rab C. Nesbitt an enduring classic. Although Ford Kiernan had only a brief voice appearance in a 1996 episode, he would go on to become a defining force in Scottish comedy. Born January 10, 1962, in Glasgow, he would later co-create Still Game, where he played Jack Jarvis, an aging Glaswegian full of charm and sass. While his role in Rab C. Nesbitt was fleeting, his career was just beginning. In many ways, Kiernan carried the torch from Rab C. Nesbitt into the next generation of Scottish comedy. At 63, he continues to act, write, and tour, connecting deeply with fans who followed him for decades. Brian Pedifer, born January 1, 1953, played Andra, a quirky and lovably odd companion of Rab's. Often quiet and oddly philosophical, Andra added a slightly surreal touch to the otherwise grounded realism of the show. He was a loyal pal with a mysterious past and an unpredictable mind. Pedifer was already a seasoned actor known for If, Topsy-Turvy, and The Legend of Barney Thompson. As of 2025 at 72, he continues to appear in select theatre productions and remains an enigmatic, well-respected figure in British drama. Best known as the original Holly in Red Dwarf, Norman Lovette brought his signature deadpan humor to Rab C. Nesbitt in 1990, playing Brother Gideon, a weird, soft-spoken street preacher whose surreal presence added a touch of absurdist comedy. Born October 31, 1946, Lovette is a cult icon among fans of British sci-fi and comedy. Even today, at 78, he performs stand-up and tours comic cons, bringing laughter and nostalgia in equal measure. Born January 15, 1950, in Clydebank, Barbara Rafferty brought fire and fury to the role of Ella Cotter, the long-suffering wife of Jamesy. She was no passive bystander. Ella had her own sharp tongue and cutting comebacks, and she gave as good as she got. In many ways, she was the real boss of the Cotter household. Rafferty made Ella both hilarious and heartbreakingly real. A woman trying to maintain dignity while living in a chaotic world. Her performances were layered, deeply felt, and always funny. Her TV credits include standout roles in River City, Hamish Macbeth, The Last Bus, and The Young Person's Guide to Becoming a Rock Star. Now 75, she continues to be celebrated across Scotland as one of the finest character actresses of her generation. Born August 2, 1958, in Neworthill, Elaine Smith stepped into the role of Mary Nesbitt with fierce intelligence and unapologetic strength. Mary wasn't just Rab's wife, she was the backbone of the entire family. Strong, independent, no-nonsense, and endlessly resilient, Mary held her household together with brutal honesty and begrudging love. Smith's Mary was iconic, not only as a character, but as a representation of Scottish women who carried families through hard times with grit and humor. The chemistry between Mary and Rab was electric. Sometimes explosive, sometimes tender, always real. Outside the show, Smith remains one of Scotland's most beloved performers. From starring in Two Doors Down to speaking out on women's rights and social justice, she's more than a performer, she's a cultural leader. In 2025, at 66, she's still active in theater, activism, and comedy, leaving an indelible mark wherever she goes. Andrew Fairley portrayed Gash Nesbitt, the disillusioned, defiant son of Rab and Mary, with raw honesty and emotional depth. Gash was the embodiment of a young man stuck between two worlds, yearning to escape the limitations of Govan but shackled by confusion, insecurity, and generational expectations. He was restless, searching, and often self-sabotaging, and Fairley captured all of that in a performance that felt both heartbreakingly personal and universally relatable. Fairley's departure from acting in the early 2000s surprised many fans as he quietly stepped away from the spotlight and into a more private life. Now 62, he lives away from public view, but for many who grew up watching Rab C. Nesbitt, he'll always be the voice of a generation wrestling with identity, place, and purpose. His portrayal of Gash still resonates today, as a symbol of the misunderstood, the misdirected, and the quietly desperate. Shug was one of those characters who felt like he'd always been there, part of the wallpaper of life in Govan. And actor Shaun Scanlan brought him to life with a kind of quiet dignity that made you sit up and pay attention. Born in 1948, Scanlan had a gift for grounding his roles in emotional truth. His Shug was wise but weary, full of the kind of hard-earned knowledge that comes from years of surviving, not thriving. Whether he was sharing a pint or offering a grim one-liner about life's unfairness, Scanlan gave Shug a soul. His presence wasn't loud, but it was solid, like the foundation of a building you never see but always rely on. Scanlan's work extended beyond Rab C. Nesbitt, with standout roles in Monarch of the Glen and Taggart. He passed away on April 17, 2017, at age 68. Today, his legacy lives on in the quiet strength and emotional depth he brought to every performance, reminding us that even the softest voices can leave the loudest echoes. Dodi was the gentle, slightly naive friend in Rab's inner circle, the kind of guy who'd give you the shirt off his back without ever expecting anything in return. Ian McCall, born in 1954, infused the character with such heart that audiences couldn't help but root for him. Whether Dodi was stumbling into trouble or offering unexpected pearls of kindness, McCall's performance made him feel like someone you actually knew. He had that rare ability to make people laugh and cry in the same scene, shifting from comedic timing to emotional vulnerability with ease. McCall gave Dodi a sweetness that was never forced, never cloying, just honest and deeply human. Sadly, McCall passed away in 2013 at the age of 59 after a battle with cancer. For fans of the show, his loss was deeply felt. He wasn't just playing a character, he was embodying a spirit of decency that seems increasingly rare. His work continues to resonate with anyone who believes that kindness still matters. Russell Hunter's Dasa was unlike anyone else in Rab C. Nesbitt, a philosopher in tattered clothes, a street poet whose presence turned even the grimmest moments into quiet, unexpected beauty. Born in 1925, Hunter was already a revered actor with decades of work behind him, including his legendary role as Lonely in Callan before joining the cast. But as Dasa, he found a whole new way to touch people's hearts. There was something transcendent about the way Hunter delivered his lines. Like he wasn't just acting, he was speaking for every soul that had ever been forgotten or overlooked. Dasa wasn't a main character, but his appearances were always profound, always unforgettable. Hunter passed away in 2004 at the age of 79. Today, acting students still study his performances, trying to learn how to say so much with so little. He remains a shining example of how even in a gritty comedy, there's room for grace, for poetry, and for emotional truth. John Kazak, born in 1963, brought grit, toughness, and raw energy to the role of Nori, a minor character who still left a major impression. In a world filled with larger-than-life personalities, Nori was a reminder of the working-class realism at the heart of Rab C. Nesbitt. Kazak's performance was unpolished in the best way, sharp, grounded, and completely believable. Beyond the show, Kazak has continued to build an impressive career, appearing in acclaimed projects like Outlaw King and River City. He's a staple in both film and theater, respected for his range and commitment to authenticity. Now in 2025, at age 62, Kazak remains active and relevant, a rare feat in an ever-changing industry. For fans of Rab C. Nesbitt, he's not just Nori, he's a symbol of how powerful even a supporting role can be when it's played with heart, honesty, and absolute dedication. Born December 22, 1953, in Menstrie, Clackmannanshire, Gregor Fischer was 35 years old when he first brought Rab C. Nesbitt to life in the 1988 pilot episode of the BBC series that would go on to define an era of British television. With his greasy hair, sweat-stained string vest, and permanent hangover, Rab wasn't your typical hero, but Fischer gave him heart, depth, and soul. He captured the frustrations of an underrepresented working-class man, using biting wit and raw emotion to voice a generation's disillusionment. Over the years, Rab became more than just a character. He became a symbol. A philosopher in the pub, a poet of the gutter. Fischer's nuanced performance earned him critical acclaim, and his face became synonymous with unfiltered, brutally honest comedy. Outside of Rab C. Nesbitt, Fischer brought charm and depth to film roles in Love Actually, The Merchant of Venice, and The Legend of Barney Thompson. Now in 2025, at age 71, he has stepped back from public life, but his impact lives on, etched into the DNA of Scottish television history. Tony Roper, born August 19, 1941 in Glasgow, was 47 when he joined the show as Rab's outrageous best friend, Jamesy Cotter. Jamesy was a notorious womanizer with a ridiculous fashion sense, an even more ridiculous mustache, and a constant twinkle in his eye. But beneath the sleazy jokes and big mouth, there was a loyal if misguided heart. Roper's comedic timing was impeccable, but he was also a man of the stage. His most enduring legacy outside the show is as the playwright behind The Steamy, a tender and hilarious portrayal of working-class women in 1950s Glasgow. That work continues to be performed today, inspiring generations of Scottish writers and actors. In 2025, at 83, Roper enjoys retirement with grace. Occasionally he appears at theater festivals or on nostalgic talk shows, reminding audiences of a golden age of storytelling built on authenticity and heart.